So I think those would both be reasonable situations where you want to make your Progenitus your A game.
The one kind of question I see, if you are boarding in Pyroblast, Jite, maybe Trigon Predator, is Force of Will something that you want to consider? I mean, like...
I can definitely see Force of Will coming out in this matchup. I don't think that, at the very least, I don't think James wants it. Tim might need it to stop Natural Order, but I think Jace the Mind Sculptor is the only card that really scares James out of this Fairies deck. He doesn't know if Tim actually has it even, because he has all these Fairies. What did he cut to fit them in? So I think we will see James cutting Force of Will going to this game, especially given his history with not having Force of Wills in his main of the deck at the Grand Prix. So shuffling up for the next game. Let's see. What is Tim going to board out here? Maybe some Force of Wills. Probably don't want all of them.
He's got a lot of great weapons here. I kind of wonder about whether or not 3 Jace is as valuable against a deck that has clocks, clicks, bolts.
I think I like Jace in this matchup.
4 mana is a lot of mana.
But I think this matchup comes down to a bit of a grind, and I think you want Jace to kind of... It's a real finisher, you know? It's not just like, I kind of hit you with... even Batterskull gets trumped by Progenitus or a Goy, Jace gets you out of everything. But I can actually see all the forces coming out, because Wrath of God can act as the Natural Order cover. Though, actually, he doesn't have any other way to deal with the Progenitus. No other counterspells for Natural Order. We'll see. We'll see. Maybe some forces come out for Wrath. Maybe don't board in all the Path to Exiles, because it's only Tarmogoyf coming, or Tarmogoyf being the threat here. I don't really necessarily want to Path... let's see... Maybe Vendilion Click, not the best. Let's see. Looks like James is considering his hand. Doesn't look too happy about it. His eyes flared up a little bit. He's gonna mulligan.
Yep. I was kind of curious if that was a big show. Like, is James doing the Drew Levin School of Acting? Like, tapping the table, serious face, keep.
Snap, keep, not straw, obviously. Let's see.
New hand.
Tim's going to keep his hand, it looks like. In a matchup that's fairly dominated by card advantage, that's pretty important.
James opens up with, look like land go.
Yep.
Tim, in response, says also land potentially go. Yep. And
yep.
James,
Basic island
land
on
go.
Tim's side. Yep. I think this favors the Fairies deck. I mean, they both have Vendilion Click, but...
Spellstarter Sprite is a real card in this matchup. Vendilion Click is in both decks, but I think there's more hardcore actual power cards in Tim's deck if it goes for the slow game.
Tim opts to Wasteland James's Trop that he plays. James follows up with a Volk.
Fetches. He's going to lay perhaps a Tarmogoyf or maybe a Green Suns for 1.
Get a Noble Hierarch rather than a Dryad Arbor so it can't be Wastelanded.
Perhaps.
Though he doesn't know that Tim's deck doesn't have Daze, so he might want to play around that.
Umezawa's Jite.
Ooh, that is a good one to stick here. We were just talking about that one in boarding, and that card can take over. Tim's deck has, a lot of, all of its win conditions are fairly creature-based. It's pretty hard to get a Batterskull to play without a Stoneforge, and Stoneforge is not getting active through a Jite.
Force of Will gets the Tarmogoyf. Noticeably, that land there represents a Dryad Arbor that the Jite can hop onto.
Yep. That is true. That Force of Will, he left them in. I guess he does respect the Natural Order plan a little bit, or at least enough to leave that in, which is reasonable. Tim fetches a Tundra.
And this is probably going to be a Mystic.
Yep. Which at the least forces Dryad Arbor to die in combat if it's going to pick up the GT. Unless James has a Lightning Bolt, which it looks like he does. Looks like a lot of red cards flipping through his hand very fast. That might just be 3 Lightning Bolts. I think it is.
Judge Bill or Judge Andre to the registration stage. Judge Bill or Judge Andre.
So I think he just fetches Dryad Arbor on end step so it's not summoning sick, and then weighs his option on his main phase. Especially because Tim doesn't have a white mana up.
No white mana up, no Mutavault.
Yep. Only thing he can do here is Dismember.
And what James needs to make this full play work out, if he goes the path we say, Dryad Arbor, and then he needs a land to be able to equip the Dryad Arbor and bolt the Mystic. And at that point, the game could very well be over.
I think he just leads on, well not, yeah. I think Jace might be able to give this game a little bit of juice on Tim's side, you know. Can come back with that pretty easily. But that would definitely negate any kind of creature or win condition that he's going to try and execute. So if James draws a land, he's just going to bolt the Mystic, see if it gets misstepped. If it doesn't, yeah, it was not that. He might just swing with the Dryad Arbor. Might just get the Mystic out of there, get some GT counters up. Because that GT counter is going to kill... Nope, just chooses to bolt it. That looks like a misstep coming down. Choosing to pay the 2 life and not get dazed. Oh, more bolts. And a Noble Hierarch. Tim does have the Jace we were talking about. Tim's going to look at his hand and try and figure out how to best balance this Jace against this GT and see where that race is going. Probably just going to brainstorm here.
Upping it doesn't seem like
especially
great.
After 2 Lightning Bolts have been
Bouncing it
used
doesn't
here.
seem great because I mean the
Dryad
Hierarch
Arbor's still
or
gonna
the
get it.
Dryad Arbor can do it because the Hierarch can just come back down. Ah, there, that's nice.
Swords on the Hierarch, passing the turn back. James draws a Tarmogoyf, which he's probably going to play. Establish a real threat as opposed to just this Dryad Arbor. Especially because the Dryad Arbor, if he's going to establish it as a threat, has to attack with GT into those Mutavaults, which is not what he wants.
Tarmogoyf.
And Mutavault animated to get Spellstutter Sprite to try and hit 2, but Lightning Bolt's going to crush that dream a little bit. If Tim has another land, I think we see him bouncing the does not have the other land, so he's going to brainstorm. What I was saying is he would bounce the Goyf with Jace, making the Dryad Arbor trade with Spellstutter Sprite there, and James loses his turn, letting Jace establish. Or if he replays Tarmogoyf, you know, you're just fighting the same Jace bounce. You know, I get to untap and you don't, right? Looks like Tim drew a Swords for that Tarmogoyf, which was a very crucial draw. And a fetch land, nice.
Wow.
So, Tim definitely in control of this game right now, but James does not have cards in hand. Tim does have, well, he's probably shuffling the Batterskull away now that Stoneforge is dead.
Right. I mean, it's a great card, but it costs a lot to put into play fairly.
Yep.
And he is a smart water drinker, so he's going to play it smart.
James debating whether he wants to get the GT active.
I mean, 2 counters on a GT is not terrible.
No, it keeps, especially because here, if he blocks with Mutavault, it kills Mutavault and Sprite. So if he blocks with Sprite, he just leaves 2 counters on the GT and just kind of chills there and prevents anything from happening. Prevents a Mystic from getting up, prevents everything. James just opts to equip Dryad Arbor with the GT.
Now, leaving the red open to indicate that he has a burn spell in his hand to discourage perhaps him from doing something.
There's been 3 Lightning Bolts used this game. I don't really see that happening. It's also possible that Tim was afraid of Dazes the first time on the Jace, which is also reasonable. Let's see. Yeah. My question is, does Tim play this Jace if he doesn't draw a land, or does he want to wait? He can wait against the GT, but we will see. Yeah, may as well. I mean, James only had one pin to top deck a days. Like, he's got it, he's got it. Whatever. Jace resolves, and that is going to bounce that Dryad Arbor, I'm pretty sure. Can brainstorm. With the sprite up, yeah.
Bouncy, bouncy. In for one. Burns Tim to the face, redirected to the Jace.
That is all 4 lightning bolts for James.
Okay, he cannot tap that
yeah,
Dryad Arbor. Dryad
can't
Arbor
tap.
is sick.
But yeah, there we go. Figured it out.
There we go.
Looks like Tim drew a Sprite. I would probably not swing with the Sprite. I'd rather leave GT counters facing down a Meteor Bolt than have them all trade off. Especially because you're looking to have a lot of mana. Because you can Stoneforge, have him kill it with the GT, and then have 5 mana for the
Does he
battle
have a green Sun Zenith in hand?
Looks like a Vendilion and another G. Let's see. All 4 lightning bolts, all 4 fire and lightning deck foils, I believe. Just looking at these decks is pretty nice.
My preferred lightning bolt is unlimited lightning bolt.
I really like the M11 one with no flavor text, just very simple 3.
Right.
So
And it comes for 1.
Dryad Arbor crashes in there. Trades with the Spell Stutter Sprite, but GT gets active. And for those of you who played during GT's reign in Standard, active GT for any kind of creature interaction is almost just completely unfair and lopsided game. Looks like James has a Vendilion click.
Go just happened there
Yeah.
for those fast turns. Main phase Brainstorm.
Yep, James looks like he had a Vendilion click, a GT, and one other card going into that, a Misstep. So Brainstorm's on the stack. Tim's gonna Spell Stutter, or he's got a Misstep, there we go. He's got a Spell Stutter Sprite. Oops, shows you have the Misstep. James is in a situation where if he lets the Sprite resolve and lets the trigger resolve, the Brainstorm's going to get countered regardless because removing a counter to kill the Sprite, he animates the Mutavault. No removing Sprites in play counters the Brainstorm regardless. So James decides that he'd rather not let the 2/2 live, rather let the 1/1 live. And Tim...
In for 1.
Yep, Ancestral Visions, I believe, ticks to 3. James draws, still stuck off of the lands he needs. Visions to 2. And he needs to assemble something fast before this Ancestral Vision goes off. Tim crunches in for 1 again. Plays a polluted, dealt in, passes.
James just needs to get some kind of action besides having a defensive GT in play.
He does have a Vendilion in hand, so...
Now he's got the mana to cast it, doesn't he?
Yep.
Is that, what?
That's a Misty.
And that's a Volcanic, and yeah, so he's got 2 blue
Yeah.
if he wants it.
The problem being the Tiger kept him off of it when he had the Dryad
Yep.
Arbor in play.
Tropical, one of my favorite lands.
Yep. Let's see. Probably going to try and time this Vendilion quick at some point here. In draw step. Maybe upkeep.
All right, wrap it up with players. Take a quick look to the center.
Tim asking who the target is, because James has a lot of cards he hasn't been casting for a while. Shipping the GT.
Extra GT goes away.
Please take a look at that sheet.
Using Vendilion Click as the lesser known 3 mana cycler that is. Yep.
Plus 3 cards.
James
Plus-
was responding to the visions being cast, I believe.
Yep.
So Tim resolves visions, and this game gets interesting.
Land, another, to go up to 7 lands for Tim. Mutavault activated.
Gets in there, baiting the GT counters, but probably it's going to be a 2 free damage.
Takes
Cast
2. James has got a lot of life to work with here.
Yeah, and he has that GT, so looks like James has a lot of Vendilion Clicks in hand.
If he equips this GT and a Swords doesn't cause him any problems, that Click plus GT is going to be just so dominating.
Yes. GT, once it gets going, no way to beat it with creatures.
Unless they're like Progenitus or, you know.
Yeah.
Fake creatures like Progenitus.
And we're cool, you know, those kind of guys. You know, I've seen GT beat some of the, like, 8-drop guys before. Just like some giant monsters. So
There is a...
GT's going to bump up to 3, kill
Yep.
the sprite before blocks, and Tim's going to take 3.
Noble
Second
Hierarch
main
after
Noble
combat.
Hierarch. Interesting.
Okay, it's a mental misstep.
Maybe he was playing around Daze. I think he might have a misstep in hand for the Force.
I'm not sure why he might hold back. It's interesting.
Yeah, I think he has a misstep and didn't want to get dazed is what it was. So this looks like a Jace the Mind Sculptor. Probably going to bounce that
Ooh.
Vendilion Click.
Which never feels too exciting to
No,
bounce a Vendilion Click.
I mentioned this at one earlier point. I've been in a scenario where I've had my opponent at 3 life, and they've had a Caracas that has to bounce my Vendilion Click every turn, and they died really miserably that game.
Main phase Brainstorm. Mental misstep for a mana.
Yep.
It means that James is unlikely to be able to cast that click.
I think
Oh,
James misstepped back.
Misstep back, good. Main phase Brainstorm is one of the secret best ways to use a Brainstorm. You get
There's
like
a Pyroblast for that
Pyroblast.
Jace, too. Jace down. And Ponder.
A very active turn for James. Tim looks like he's exhausted his Ancestral Visions build-up
Yeah.
to almost nothing.
He has a lot of lands in play here. Interesting note, it looks like he's gone from the typical 4 wastelands, I think, to 3 so he can support this Riptide Laboratory. Which, I don't know how that affects this matchup, but I think the 4 wastelands might be better against this 3-color mana base.
Ponder finishes resolving. He passes the turn back to Tim.
James chose to shuffle out the Ponder. Looks like he drew a Swords and has a Force of Will in hand.
Lays his, what is that, 9th land?
Yep.
Tim
I think
says go, or James says go.
10th including the Wasteland in the graveyard.
Another Force of Will? End of turn. Summons a 5 casting cost Force of Will with a Vendilion Click.
Yep. Good old real cast Force of Will.
Tapu.
I went actual years playing that card without ever seeing that.
Please raise your hand while judge and we'll lead around the collect.
Noble Hierarch.
Also a threat.
Says go, leaves mana open.
Yep. That GTA makes every single creature that is going to hit play for James a huge threat.
Swords. Mental misstep for 2 life. Force of Will. Cast
Counterspell.
card.
An original counterspell, or I believe that's the F&M promo one. Cast right back. And James gets his threat online.
This is why he did not activate that GTA right away. He wanted to be able to fight a counter war to protect the Noble Hierarch carrying it. I actually thought that this game was likely to be over when that Ancestral Vision resolved. And
James was just able to reestablish a creature, get that Vendilion Click going. Or the GTA going
yes,
with the Vendilion Click
the
on.
GTA has been driving the way that this game has played.
Yep. That card typically dominates when creatures have to fight.
Yep.
And Jace has not been long for this world in this matchup, so...
I think Jace has come down on the table twice, and both times has died immediately. And both
Yep.
times the Jace has not been able to brainstorm to any
Yep.
real effect. It had
Bounce
to
a
bounce,
threat,
and it needed to do
and-
it both times.
Yep. I think the first time there might have been a reason, like, it might have been an argument to brainstorm, but...
It was an argument at least.
Yeah, but it was really marginal. Like, if the Jace dies, you're just dead if you don't bounce.
Batterskull from Tim, an Ancient Grudge from James.
Probably going to result in a bounce Batterskull in response. And we're going to see a face-off of 2 busted equipment here. Does Tim even have 3 lands left in his deck to fetch?
Apparently,
There we go.
I guess they're still in there.
Yeah. He has a total of 8 lands that he can fetch, and I think they are all in play. Every single land that he can fetch is in play right now.
James attacks with the Noble Hierarch, coming in for a big one. Does he pump it? Yep, he does pump
And that
it.
is lethal.
There we go.
That was
He had
exactly
that many
11.
tokens? Wow.
5 counters and the
realize.
Noble Hierarch +1. And going to game 3. So we've seen Ancient Grudge from James as a sideboard card. Counterspell. Trigon Predator might be coming in, might not, but we'll see what happens when he Green Sun Zenith this game. Pyroblast for sure comes in, as does GT. And, Pyroblast, marginal difference can be misdirected. But, I don't know why he chose that over Red Blast.
An important thing to note is that unless they've been given an extension, and I don't think they have, they're down to under 4 minutes for this game.
Oh, wow. Maybe a small extension for the feature match, but I don't know. This might just be a draw. That game took a long time to resolve.
I mean, if anything, this favors James by a lot, because it is possible he could just
Turn
cast
3,
turn 3
10-10.
Progenitus. Well, not the Progenitus, but cast the natural order to get the Progenitus.
I don't think I've ever seen someone hard cast Progenitus.
I saw it in limited once.
Really?
Yeah.
In limited? Wow.
Yeah.
There were stories of the Pro Tour. It's just,
That
Jeremy,
was at an FNM draft where it was 2 guys that don't play very much playing against each other, and the one guy
Had a
cast
visit?
it. There it went.
I assume he won the game.
I can't remember.
I believe Jeremy chiming in saying that yes, in fact, he did cast it once. So I know I've never cast it for its mana cost. I know I've never seen someone do that. But the stories were flying around Pro Tour Hawaii about casting Progenitus for the 5-color mirror. For the people who didn't have Lightning for their deck. So we'll see. Oh, they have a 2
They
minute.
have a 2-minute extension.
Yep.
Still heavy favor to James. And in fact, this might actually be better news for James. It's much easier for James to win in, let's say, 5 minutes now than it is for
3.
him to win in 3.
Yeah, he can probably. It's probably harder for him to win on like turn 5 or 6 than it is for him to win on like turn 8 or so.
And I don't even know if it's possible for Tim to win, even if both players are playing at a fast, reasonable pace.
Yeah, let's see. What is the first turn that he can probably not win until absolute earliest 6 or 7 is my guess. Vanillion Click is not the fastest clock in the world. Batter Skull off Stoneforge. It's 5. It's 4 turns after 3. Maybe 6, fastest I can see him killing. It's 5, 9. Yeah, he can kill on 6 at the earliest, I believe. So, that's absolute fastest possible draw on both sides. So I don't really see.
But the ways for Tim to get to that fast draw, all it takes for James to stop that from happening is putting a couple of dorks into play just for a turn or two, a lightning bolt here or there.
Whereas James it's this fight over natural order.
Yeah. And heck, James, because he has Tarmogoyf,
James
can actually just do it in a different kind of way as well.
Yeah, the real beatdown plan. Tarmogoyf and Vanillion Click attack.
Yeah. I mean, previous level blue in Extended a while back
was what
like,
they did.
Yeah, Tarmogoyf, click sometimes.
Yeah.
There you go.
That's what some of the Bant decks, just very much rely on that. James's Grand Prix winning deck, that's how he was killing people.
Mutavault versus Tropical Island into Noble Hierarch.
Yeah.
Tim knows he has to do this quickly, attacks for 2.
Yep.
Oh, there's a Tarmogoyf.
And another Noble Hierarch.
And a Noble Hierarch. Cast Brainstorm.
Players know they're short on time. James is probably going to send back this Ancient Grudge, I think. There's no indication of a Stoneforge Mystic, so I can't see it being that great here. Let's see.
Waiting for this Brainstorm to fully resolve so we can see how the turn gets pushed out.
Okay. Fetch land. Gonna get Volk. Play Goyf.
Players, that is time in your round. Time in the round. Legacy open. Time.
So Tim here has to. There's a main phase Vanillion Click. I think Tim might. I don't know. This could get interesting.
Yeah, show me your hand. It's Grudge, Bolts. Is that Misstep? And
Probably a click, I think.
I can't tell.
Yeah, that's a click.
Okay.
Yep, Click getting shipped right to the bottom. James draws a card, draws another card for his turn. Probably going to just lightning bolt down this Vendilion Click that's in play, force through the damage on the might not even need to. Might just be a 3-power Goyf that gets to crack in. Though, probably just want to bolt the Goyf. It's the best way to not lose this game. Yep. Or bolt the... Yeah, bolt the Vendilion Click. Wrong card. Bolting the Goyf, not what you want. Crunches in for instant land creature. So 2 3-power Goyfs in play right now.
Right.
I believe that was 4 damage that turn. Puts Tim to 16. Yeah, I don't think that Noble Hierarch swung in, so yeah. James draws a Trop. Debating whether to bash with one or both. If he bashes with just one, it gets to not die to the Mutavaults, but if he bashes with both, you can trade with the Mutavault. Trade situation doesn't come up. Probably better to attack with the one, which is what he did, bringing Tim to 12. Attacking with both means that Goyf's the same size next turn, same attack you're making, just no reason to trade Mutavault for Goyf there.
Another land, single Goyf attack again.
Yep.
Should knock Tim to 8.
Yep, good old Exalted, doing its job. Tim has a Jace, a 3rd Mutavault, a Force.
3rd Mutavault.
Plays a Jace, the Mind Sculptor. I think James drew another Vendilion Click. Goyf gets bounced. Yeah, this looks like an end-step Vendilion Click. Opting to leave up the red mana. May as well represent the bolt.
Vendilion Click is cast by James. Tim.
I think Tim forces
Can't be
and
happy.
swords that Tarmogoyf maybe? I don't know what he has in hand. He might not have a blue card. Yep, now they are on extra turns. I believe James should have the first turn. That's a Force of Will pitching a Mental Misstep. Or Jace.
Drops Tim down to 7.
Yep. Said Mental Misstep because James has one of those in his hand that's going to protect against the Force. Or I think it's the swords up. Mixing up cards. Oh, wall on guys. Mixing up. Yeah.
It's once you've been talking about Magic. At this point, I think we're on hour 20 or so. It can be hard to talk.
Yeah.
In comes Tarmogoyf. Mutavault is created. Mutavault is not grudgeable. It is not a mana.
It's not a Mishra's Factory.
Not a Mishra's Factory.
Good thing that is not a Mishra's Factory for Tim, or he would have lost. Goyf's going to come down. This is turn 1, I believe. It might be turn 2. That might be what that looks like, a die up there. Jace brainstorms.
Tim's struggling here just to get a draw. He's got 2 Mutavaults to be able to help defend himself.
I think he probably should have bounced one of the Goyfs and just kept chumping with Mutavaults, just get the draw. It's not like you're playing for the win at this point. Brainstorm
Main
off
phase
the
brainstorm.
top. Off of the outlying white border duel.
Players, there's 10 minutes remaining in building registration. 10 minutes remaining.
Resolves.
Another grudge.
Yeah, these ancient grudges are not too hot right now. Let's see. James debating what the last card to put back is. I can see the Noble Hierarch going back. That's reasonable. You probably want to send both Goyfs at the Jace. Even though you have to trade one for the Mutavault, it's acceptable.
Honestly, I would consider sending both Goyfs at Tim.
It's not lethal, though.
I understand, but you're not drawn to a bolt afterwards.
He's not even 4. I don't think there's a sorcery.
Isn't there?
No visions this game. Was there a Ponder? I don't think there was a Ponder.
You're right. You're right.
They're 3. As far as I know, they were 3/4s, and they stayed 3/4s the whole game.
Fair
There's
enough.
the whole issue with 2 Goyfs attacking into 2 Mutavaults being a bad play earlier. So yeah, I don't think it's changed. So
Right, you're right. You're
if they were
totally
four-
right.
If they were fours, I would for sure just slam both to the face. Tim has to chump one of them with a mutable, and it's actually just a chump block.
He's going to go both at the Jace.
Yep, I think that's correct. Trade Goyf for Mutavault and Jace. Though Tim's probably going to try and swords one of the Goys. This is going to turn into a misstep fight. Does Tim have a misstep of his own? Yes, he does. Debates whether he wants to walk into daze or whether he wants to pay the 2 life. Misstep right back. Noble Heart's going to be tapped for the 3rd misstep of the turn, which means that Swords is currently not resolving. Okay, so Jace is going to die, and I'm assuming that Tim's going to... You know, if I was Tim, it might be reasonable... No, go get the Forge next turn. You have to... Yeah, stay face up backs are Planeswalkers. Okay, there we go. So this all resolves correctly, so Tarmogoyf doesn't grow before... Or because Jace dies, but before it would... Yeah.
Damage is all simultaneous.
Yep. So this is turn 3. So Jace is going to die, and a Tarmogoyf is going to die as well.
Or no, he didn't block with anything.
Yep. Maybe his goal here is just get the draw, don't die next turn.
Well, he wants, I think, to, if he doesn't block anything, then he's got 2 Mutavaults so they can both block next turn.
Yeah. Whereas if he double blocks a Goyf, there's a chance that like one of his bolts gets bolted, they're both dead, and then
Yes.
he's just very possibly dead.
He's either 4/5, so all it would take is a Noble Hierarch and a burn spell.
Or just a Noble Hierarch, right?
Well, I mean, like, you need the burn spell to kill off the remaining Mutavault.
Not if he has the bolt. The bolt gets rid of both blockers, and he has 2 Goyfs there. So that's
I'm talking about the play you were talking about, why the Goyf wouldn't be dead.
Yeah.
Different point in the game. Threads of Disloyalty.
So if let's see, Tim can Red Blast the... Is that a Dryad Arbor?
It's a Dryad Arbor at the end of the turn.
Yep. His hand's an Ancient Grudge. Lightning Bolt does not do it. It's a 5-power Goyf, yeah. Assuming he attacks with it alone. That's a Jite. Obviously 1 turn off of basically winning the game.
It's a draw.
Yeah, I think they're just gonna draw. Let's see if we can get an overhead shot so we can see what the match slip says as they're signing it. It looks like 1-1-1. That is a draw.
Yep, draw.
Okay, so James was close to victory there, but Tim had outs. He had outs to crush him, so...
He just needed a few more moments in order to be able to make that happen.
Yeah, it was really close there.
For those of you who are just joining us, we just finished round 5.
Yeah.
3 rounds left in this Legacy tournament, the Star City Games Open Series here live in
Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania.
That's right. That's right. I'm Adrian Sullivan.
And I'm Ari Lax.
Welcome. This has been a great day of Magic. We just saw a really, really great matchup. 2 champions.
Yeah.
One a Grand Prix champion.
Won a Star City Open champion from a couple weeks back.
And they were kind of battling with decks that they, I think at least with James. With James has kind of made his name for a lot of people with playing